Hello sports fans, I'm Colonel Failure, this is Factorio, let's play our game. Now, in the last few episodes I've gradually been building up my factory's ability to do its factory thing. We've got green flasks being made in something of a cumbersome fashion. We've got red flasks being made. And we are more or less keeping up with the demand for both. This is a good thing. However, we're not going to be able to keep up with demand forever because we need more and more and more and more and more and more stuff. And so it's time to upgrade from our starting kind of furnace area. What I want to do is plot out the area which will be the furnace of the future. What's going on over here? I see. You've got this. Yeah. So this is my steel setup, steel industry, I guess you'd call it. Yes, it's it had stalled there, and I suspect it was because it had a little bit of the wrong type of ore. Anyway, digressions aside, I want to walk you through the scheme. Let's dump all of this stuff on there. Bricks might be useful. Used to make stone path. Stone path, that's new. Okay, fine. Yes, I've played quite a lot of Factorio, but not in some time, as I have demonstrated repeatedly in this series so far. But the fundamental that I'm going to stake a claim to is that there aren't any flying aliens. The reason for this is quite important. Is in order to build a defensible kind of home base, I'm going to use the water as kind of a natural defensive boundary. Now, if I'm wrong, and there are now flying aliens, number one, don't tell me. I want that to come as a glorious surprise. And secondly, this planet sucks, basically. Because what I want to do is this is going to be my primary furnace area right here. I like the look of this spot. Now, I originally thought about doing it over... where are we looking here? Over in this forested section. I'd get rid of the trees and stick it in here. However, we do have quite a lot of oil resource here. I mean, they never last long enough with oil. But this area is likely to be taken up with oil processing. So the aim is to build what I need over in that new area. And that's going to lead, in the short term, to some fairly hefty belting. Right, what should we go for next? Wow, we're up to engines already. Struth. Okay. Good. Right, what do we want? Lab efficiency? I like lab efficiency, but it doesn't really get much. It's a bit early for oil processing, as much as I'm going to need it. No, I want to head towards electric furnaces, and electric furnaces, I recall, vaguely need plastic. Unless they've changed it up. So, what do you think? Bit of bullet damage? Yeah, let's stall by doing bullet damage for now. And that's, I mean, the one thing that is very true about the game is that you constantly want to be researching. But at the same time, sometimes you don't want necessarily to get the best stuff immediately. Well, I don't. Okay, right, let's cover that there. Right, how much have we got in here? Oh, plenty. Right, good. How many can I have? Another 9. Okay, well let's do 6. Which will take me up to 12 furnaces in total, which should be more than enough to get me to a reasonably good size. The challenge is going to come, and let's not forget, the purpose of this series is to build a smart factory, which is what I always try and do, and someday I will pull it off. And we won't actually get to see what that even means for a little while yet, but bear with me, we'll get there eventually. What do I need here? I need some iron gears, some iron plate, and some copper plate. Well, I know where we make all of that stuff. So let's just nab all of that. I'm probably going to do it. Let's zoom in a little bit so you're not viewing it quite such a bird's eye. And then give me those as well. And these. We can use a little bit of that in the short term. Right. Just purely because if I'm going to build this new bit, then I am going to want just 1 or 2 defences. So, I don't think that's wrong. Let's go for 3 of these, because I don't want to build this thing only to discover that it gets readily consumed by the red beasties, when they finally make their first inevitable assault on my glorious, non-polluting, ignore that smoke, factory. Right, okay, so I've got a couple of turrets, I've got furnaces, I haven't got any steel, iron plate, that's what you mean. And I've got enough to make transport belts though, so yeah, let's build all the transport belts in the world. And obviously it's dark now, so you're not going to see anything that's going on, so I shall endeavour to keep you amused through the power and wit contained in my illustrious commentary. Okay, so the main difference between the stone furnaces and the steel ones, aside from them being generally better, is that and faster, obviously, is that they use up more space. They use up one extra block. Now, I should have spent some time and thought this through before I started. The good news is that they are actually the same size as the electric furnaces, so you can basically transpose an electric furnace straight onto the top of a steel furnace. This is a good thing, because it means that there are no more upgrades required once we've got this rolling. Let's build a single prototype. Right, so we've got resources coming in, okay, and let's, for the sake of argument, say that they're coming in from over here. Right. Okay. So there we go. There's the one of those, and then what next? So we've got to grab the resources in, and we're going to need for this particular setup, we're going to need coal as well as resources. So let's say it's a single source belt. You're looking at an in and an out, right? So that would be an in, that would be an out. I'd probably use different inserters than that. However, is that the best we can do? I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And unlike the existing setup, I'm going to, or am I? I was going to say I'm going to segregate iron and copper. But actually, I don't think I will. The trick is going to be outputting sufficient. How many have I got down there? 5, 6, right. So the eventual would be this. Right, so nothing but furnaces, all doing their merry furnace thing. And we can, so initially it's going to have ore on one side and coal on the other, and then when we switch up to electric, we can increase this to be double side ore and keep up with demand. We can then double side out on belt up here, which, providing my sortatron, in fact I think the belt will probably come around the bottom, although if it did go around the top, that would future-proof. Oh, it's all coming flooding back now. I was always obsessed with future-proofing. Grand. Okay, right, look, let's get this rolling and see where we end up, shall we? Right, now, yes, yeah, oh, it's definitely coming flooding back now, because symmetry is absolutely vital. If you don't build your factory in a symmetrical fashion, you don't deserve to live, frankly. So let's go for that. There we go. Look at this. Look. See, look. If I put that there, there's going to be people now who are already kind of feverishly typing comments. So no, we will not. We will not be putting one there. Okay, good. Next up, power. And again, symmetry is king. Even if it ends up being asymmetrical in some fashion, you have to at least have a system. Right, so what are we looking at here? We're going to need one for the middle and then one for the outside. All right. So we'll do one there, and I'm going to do, brace yourselves. It's a little outside your comfort zone, I know, but it's like a purposeful zigzag, and then if I reverse that on the other side, we can all be friends. So there we go. It's not quite reversing it though, is it? Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll do for now. I can probably fish up something with a broader radius in the future. All right. Okay. Good. Right. And then we want our output belts, which are going to go this way. Going to need more belt. Leave 2 here, please, or more than 2, as you wish. And then do the same up here. Give me some underground. Oh no, I haven't got enough iron plate. All right, okay. Well, we'll do that. We'll put an underground belt on there. Okay, so we've got the in, we've got the out. I need to build a heck of a lot more belts. So let's go back and get that done. And then, you know, it might look like I've just built that out in the middle of nowhere, but I'll probably end up relocating quite a lot of stuff over in that direction. It all depends how big the oil processing area ends up being. Right, given that, I mean, I've got quite a few inserters, but let's whiz the lot here. This is going to drain my resources for a little while. Where's that got me to? Lots of belts, but not enough. Let's whiz this as well. There we go. Yeah, let's take the lot. Yeah, thank you very much. For those of you unfamiliar, that's done by basically holding down F and running. Right, give me the works. That's going to be enough to keep me going. Let's whiz back out and start laying this in. So for the moment, I basically need to feed into this area down here. Now I might end up, in fact, I might end up reversing that, but it's going to be a heck of a belt system that I set up. Now I'll replace the incoming ores with trains once I have them, but trains require oil. And oil processing, I think, is a little way off yet. So this is, I mean, in terms of the amount of space being used, inefficient. But in terms of where we want to get to, I don't want to be rebuilding the thing 86 different times. I want to, get it right relatively swiftly. So eventually, I'm going to need to upgrade this in terms of capacity, because when I'm fully furnaced here. And it suddenly occurs to me that maybe electric furnaces are a step bigger than that. Oh well, I'll worry about that when the time comes. I can relay some of it. Let's take you down here. The other thing I can do, of course, is by using a splitter, I can add another double row of furnaces down here as well, keeping it relatively compact, but at the same time, not losing throughput. Right, here we go. Let's see how far this gets me. Where's this going to lead? Right into the north of the base. Well, actually, since I want to get rid of these trees at some point in the future anyway, and since I'm going to need a whole bunch of electrical bits and pieces, electrical pylons, poles, I'm going to chop this lot down now. Eventually, I will probably use robots to do this, despite the fact that, as you well know, robots is cheating. Little flying cheating fellas. Turret damage upgrade. Yeah, I'll take that. And actually, while I think about it, the perfect time for the Red Menace to attack would be while I'm still mucking around with belts. So let's not take any chances and just bang 3 up here, shall we? Take me pistol ammo, because I'm not going to be using that anytime soon. There we go. Good. Right. Defended. Obviously, if they break past that front line, then I'm not defended. But, these things, they happen. Where are we? Right, you know what? I'm gonna skip this bit. Okay, so I'll chop these trees down, so you don't have to watch me just chopping, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, as you can see, I have now completed my belting. Well, I've completed this end of it, and I've also got power up as well. See, I save you from having to watch all of the repetitive bits. I've built a very straightforward two-way line going out here. Now, this is not going to deliver resources anywhere near as swiftly as I need. I'm going to need to think about doing double belting. I'm going to need to think about using high-speed belt. But I'm going to think about all of that later. First things first, what I need is to get coal up onto here. So I'm going to sever this coal bolt here, and I'm just going to let that run out. Basically, the old factory will be done in its own time. It will run out of resources, and then we'll be free to move on. But I'm in no rush for it to do so. Oh no, whoa, steady on. No, you've set the cat amongst the pigeons there. Let's get that. That would have created mayhem. Yes, so in this first instance, what I'm endeavouring to do is just pretty much replicate the belting system that I've got going on now, and then while that beds in, I shall rearrange this area to be able to cater for a significant higher input of goods, so we don't end up with any queuing whatsoever. Well, you know, that's the plan anyway. So let's just swerve that up there, and we're off and rolling. There we go. So coal is now being distributed to where I need it. Meanwhile, what do we just go for? Logistics 2, which gives me the fast belts, just in case I decide I need them early. What should we do next? Let's go. Yeah, let's. To be honest, I was expecting to have been to had attempted murder propagated by this point. Mercifully, of course, it has not done so. So, you know, the aliens overdue is what they are. Shall we shut those guys down now? Where are we at with coal? Actually, yeah, let's shut that down now. And actually, while we're at it, I'm gonna take out all of these. Now, the copper mine that I've got running, I think it's only one, maybe two copper harvesters, copper mines. In fact, let's put this in while I think about how I'm going to rearrange. Might as well keep some production running at this point. Where was I? Copper, mines generally. Yes, reorganize this so that it's outputting correctly. I'm not outputting very much copper at the moment, but to be honest, my demand isn't going to go up by much yet. It will, and quite rapidly as well, but right now, all I'm interested in is getting the new system set up. So if we take that out of the picture, then we can get copper on the go as well. Right, there you go. You come up there, and then I want another. Can't underground that. Oh, but then again, I don't need to. If I put that onto there, that'll work perfectly. Okay, so we've got copper going into the new system now as well, which is fabulous. Now all I need to do is get the iron running in, and that will be relatively straightforward. So let's think about this sensibly. There's the bottom of my current iron field. In fact, if I move it up by one, that will work. Let's get rid of the power just temporarily while I relay this, and then we'll power it up properly in a moment. Okay, so it might look like I'm placing, in fact, it doesn't just look like it, I am placing these iron mines over a partially empty area. And that's because I'm finicky and I like to remove an entire block at once, rather than having any left over. And with a bit of luck, you'll see what I mean by that anyway. Let's do a bit of this underground belt action. Take this round the corner and then swing it on. There we go. Have at you. Right, good. So if I power this up, we will also have iron on the go. So let's do it. There we go. We've got iron on the belt now. Excellent. Right, so we've got everything flowing. We've got a bit of leftovers here, but that's, you know, that's to be expected. I'll demolish that in my own time, I think. So let's follow this along and see what sort of output we end up with. Obviously, we're not going to get a true measurement until this belt is... well, firstly, we're going to need to fill the belt. And our requirements for iron vastly outstrip our requirements for copper at the moment. But that's okay. What do we think? Yeah, I ought to start thinking about the other end of the equation, really. Because the one thing that I know, without even having to look, is that there's a gap in the belt. I can't possibly have filled it with coal already. I didn't take that long, did I? Evidently I did. Yes, the one thing we know already is this 12 furnace setup that I've got going on here is way more than I actually need. So as you can see, I've got basically one furnace is handling everything I need for the whole of copper, which is fine. When the iron turns up, as it will momentarily, when the iron turns up, there we go. When this happy-go-lucky stuff, it arrives on the scene, then we'll start to see a few more going. But that copper is coming from, see if I were to remember, I would know. Remember what, you ask yourselves? Remember how many mines I've got running? I think it was 2. Let's go have a look. No, just 1. So, 1 mine is not enough to keep up with the output capabilities of 1 steel furnace, and obviously electric furnaces are faster still. I'm just helping myself to a little bit of belt, and I need to build myself a new pick. Right, there we go. If only, yeah, you see, no, there's your mistake. You've not got any plate on you, so you can't actually build your iron pick, you buffoon. Oh, yeah, no, I have. Hey, good stuff. Oh, man, where the hell is it left? There we go. Oh, no, let's go for a steel axe. Much better. Right, okay, so, let's follow this along. So, as you can see, we've got more than enough coal than we need. Why have we got copper on both sides of the belt there? Interesting. Actually, I am planning on using both sides of the belt. There we go. Right, so looks, yeah, iron output again. So this is now getting the full flow of all 6 of the mines that I've got right now, and it's taking, I guess you could say 6. I guess you could say 6. It's taking 6 furnaces to process 6 mines. Electric runs faster, but at the moment, yeah, this one's getting a little bit of downtime. So 5 and a bit. It's taking 5 and a bit furnaces to keep up with demand. So it basically means I've got output capability. Well, I've got smelting capability for another 6 mines, and frankly, I ought to make that happen. But more importantly, you see, I've actually beaten the iron plate back again. More importantly, we've got the belt capacity to take into consideration, and we've got the other end to think about. Now, the other end is I'm going to need, basically, resource sorting is what's going to need to happen up here. And previously, as I'm sure you know, I've been resource sorting down here. So let's delete this, and that's where we'll pick it up in the next episode. I know, yeah, you know, that's the thing with Factorio. Once you start, it's very difficult to stop. So I'm going to clear all of this lot out of the way. I'll probably get another couple of mines running. Just 2. 2 will be enough. And we'll actually increase our copper output at the same time. So we'll have one iron mine and 1 copper mine added into the mix. And a bit of power. You see, this is why I was down here. Right, okay. Well, let's get rid of some of this stuff, and then that'll just happen. Like that. There we go. So again, I've built that on a narrower area, but it's still got 2,500 ore to mine up before it's done. So yeah, next time around, what we're going to do is we're going to build a kind of post furnace yeah, resource sorter. There we go. Yeah, processed goods resource sorting system. So be sure to join. What? It was all going so well. Be sure to tune in for that. And if you want to make sure you don't miss the episode, hit the subscribe button. I can't guarantee it's going to be any more competent linguistically or otherwise. But hey, you know, I aim to provide a smidgen of entertainment. Thank you very much for watching today. I've been Colonel Failure. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.